We'd like to thank BetChrisCanada.net for their support of the Hockey Betting Podcast. I'm Brian Blessing in sunny Las Vegas.
And I'm Cam Stewart in cold Toronto, Canada.
If you love hockey and you're in Canada, and Cam is, by the All-Star break, even if you can't stop thinking about taking a vacation someplace sunny and warm, but you don't want to miss out on any of the hockey action, look for a BetChris near your next holiday destination.
BetChris is one of the leading sports books in the Western Hemisphere, with hundreds of sports betting locations throughout the Caribbean and Latin America.
Watch the game at a BetChris location. Food and drink specials and VIP lounges are available at many BetChris locations. Use the promo code PODCAST when you open your BetChris account.
Place some bets on your game and collect your cash at the window when the game is over.
BetChris offers single bets, parlay bets, teasers, and more on pregame and live odds for hockey and all your favorite Canadian and American sports leagues. And BetChris offers a variety of team and player props, including futures.
BetChris offers the best value odds on Canadian and international sports. Use the promo code PODCAST when you open up your account at a BetChris location. Deposit $750 or more and get up to a 40% reduced commission on your sports bets, up to minus 106 on single bets and parlay bets. That's the best juice in the biz.
So, if you're planning a trip to exotic locations from the Caribbean and Mexico to Peru and almost everywhere in between, the odds are very good. There's a BetChris Sportsbook where you're going on holiday. For more information about visiting a BetChris location while you're on holiday, or to listen to or subscribe to the Hockey Betting Podcast, visit BetChrisCanada.net. That's BetChrisCanada.net. Cam, you're Canadian. When you leave Canada and you're heading south, use the promo code PODCAST.
You're listening to the Hockey Betting Podcast, presented by BetChrisCanada.net. This is the Hockey Betting Preview for Thursday, October 17th, 2019. And now, live from Las Vegas, the host of the Hockey Betting Podcast, Brian Blessing.
Absolutely one of our favorite segments. When we talk hockey with our bud, Cam Stewart, our dear friend north of the border. I'm Brian Blessing in Las Vegas. You know, Cam, the beauty of this, listen, you know, it's a contact sport, and, you know, in an era of soft tissue injuries, we do this podcast, we muddle through it because I'm telling you, you know, both our ribs end up hurting so bad from laughing when we're doing this damn thing.
Yeah, these guys, the production team saw some glamour shot photos that I did, and you did too. I was a lot thinner back there, Brian. I can tell you that.
Well, no, I'm telling you, I saw those pictures. Did you get a free bowl of soup after the session?
Yeah. You should. I should. What I should have had a turkey
yeah,
drumstick in one hand. Me caveman. Me like.
I'm like, well, good. This is a podcast. We're safe, right? But I'm like, man, you clean up good.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, they can do anything now. They can clean up your face, and I think they took 60 pounds off. Good for them.
Oh yeah. Well, the one thing that hasn't been accomplished yet, and that would work for me, would be if they could ever figure a way to do a head transplant.
Well, you'd have your glamour shots and have a Marlboro dangling from your leg. Smoke them if you got it.
All right, buddy boy, let's dive in, man.
Yeah.
Rangers, this is the Friday night card. Hockey's off to the races. Some teams, hot starts. We're starting to see some cool things, some question marks. It's a great time of year. You're still trying to figure out who these teams really are. Rangers, Devils minus a quarter, 6.5 is the total. All the summer talk about this, Cam, that, hey, man, these two teams are on the improve, and that could be turn into kind of a fierce, fun blood rivalry again. Bottom line is, we said this, yeah, Devils made a lot of acquisitions. Rangers made a lot of acquisitions. The difference is the Rangers have two goalies and the Devils have none.
Excellent point, Brian. And take a look at, if you guys are into live betting too, it's something that's great for hockey with the inflated numbers. Sometimes the team gets a lead, you get like $2.50. It's absolutely nuts. And we've seen late lead changes. Think about the Devils, Brian. 4-0 lead against the Jets, lose. Recently, Canadian Thanksgiving, 3-1, 4-1 against Florida. They lose that game 6-4. 5 unanswered from the Panthers. So,
by the way, that day, we did the podcast that day, and we were both right. I mean, we both liked, and if not loved, Florida and the over in that game, and they were down 4-2. You're going, oh boy, I guess we were wrong about that. Wrong. And Florida tilted the ice on them in the third period.
Devils are a bad team, and but they're going to be desperate. I can tell you one thing, like how long, the desperate team, they're not going to go too much longer without a win. Laying 20 cents, Brian, I know the Rangers are probably going to score too. 6.5, it seems high, but I'd probably take the over. I think we're going to see the best effort from the Devils. You're right, though. The goaltending sucks. It doesn't matter who's between the pipes for these guys. Blackwood and Schneider, it's just bad. They got to figure it out. They got to go get a goaltender. A little bit loose on the back end, but they have goal scorers, as you saw. They laid it on thick against the Panthers, but I would lean over, and I'd actually lean Devils in this game. Despite me liking the Rangers more, we're going to see a very desperate Devils team. They got to win this game.
As we look at it, yeah, that's right. The Devils are the only winless team in the NHL, 0-4-2. I said this on my hockey show in Vegas all summer, Cam. Taylor Hall, he made it sound like he didn't want to be there. Then Ray Shero, he goes and he gets Subban, he gets Gusev, he gets Wayne Simmons, whose best days of hockey are behind him. But they went and made a splash and made some additions, and we're sitting there going, well, I don't know. They made a statement trying to get guys, whether that would be enough to make Taylor Hall say, I want to stay in New Jersey. I didn't think so, and he didn't sign. Allegedly, they're talking. I'm telling you, Cam, this is a dog's breakfast, and this start by the Devils, this will be my prediction because it's going to be hopeless, and with each passing day, if they come to the realization that a former MVP 2 years ago does not want to be there, his value is dropping every day. If this trend continues for another 2 weeks, like real bad, I'm saying Taylor Hall could be moved by Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and think about the teams that would want Taylor Hall. You could even look at the neighbors. Rangers would be an interested team. What about the New York Islanders? What's their problem? Scoring. Taylor Hall would be a great fit for them. So many teams would be lining up for Taylor Hall. I agree, Brian. The Devils got to figure something out, or we might have an early fire sale in the swamp.
I'll throw a wacko one at you because it's kind of their MO. Although you'd be kind of getting into that Leafs territory with Eichel making 10, Skinner making 9, and if they did a sign and trade, but if you threw him in Buffalo, you got a cornerstone piece that Buffalo's dying to get rid of is Ristolainen, and so a pick and a prospect with Buffalo already thinking of moving Ristolainen, I would not. That's a big need for them as a second line scorer. Imagine that Taylor. Imagine Taylor Hall on the second line.
The Sabres right now we're talking about is one of the most improved teams. If we want to talk about units and cashing, they're on our radar. They've been playing great hockey. Sometimes, once in a while, Eichel has to take the team on his shoulder, and they get the goal drought before it was the defense. But you're right, Brian. With a guy like Taylor Hall, the Sabres become not just a team that can make the playoffs, but a team that could actually do some damage. They're improved really quickly, and you're right. If you want to get rid of Ristolainen, you're going to have to package him in a couple draft picks, but it's something, if I was in the Sabres room, me and you, if we were in the boardroom with the boys, we'd say, yes, do it, because there's a good vibe in Buffalo. We talked about it before. The Bills are winning. The Sabres are winning. The town's coming together. There's a little bit of optimism. Usually it's like, here we go again, another losing season, and that's different. These people need it. They've been waiting for it for a long time, and when both teams are winning, Bills and Sabres, it's great for the community, and I'll tell you, Pagula and these guys, they might pull the trigger.
Hey, let's go off the rotation, but just because we brought it up, Buffalo is in action tonight. Back-to-back nights, the bus ride from Anaheim to L.A. L.A. minus a quarter. The total is 5.5 to the over. Buffalo jumped on Anaheim last night, and Gibson's playing at an incredible level. Buffalo's up 2-0. And this bears close watching because it's a different era in the game, Cam. I watch guys cut to the middle of the ice with their head down, and they're playing on the train tracks, and guys let them off the hook. It's a different game.
Yep.
But down 2-0 last night. Anaheim went out of their way and gooned it up, and they targeted Dahlin and Olofsson and the young guys, and it got them back in the game, and they took Buffalo off their game. And Buffalo's power play was number 1 in the league, went 1 for 7. I mean, they had their chances, but Anaheim gooned it up, and it worked. And I wonder, it's a copycat league, if that's not going to be what people do. Good for them, lots of skill. Let's go punch them in the mouth. And at some point, you got to stand up for yourself. But maybe it's a leap of faith, but, playing back-to-back nights, there's not a doubt in my mind Buffalo's the better team. And maybe they got a stone in their shoe or it took something out of it. But I like them tonight plus a dime.
Love them. Yeah. You're giving me this team at plus money against the Kings, but I'll tell you, the Kings are very similar to Anaheim. So if they do watch the tape, they'll love to goon it up. They're a slow-footed, plodding team, a couple good young players, but a lot of aging veterans who are slow. Buffalo should be able to capitalize on the special teams and power play. I think it's a great price, too. And I'll tell you one thing, Brian, I love coming in the back-to-back. You lose the first, it's kind of like a doubleheader in baseball. I'll come back to the team the second time if the situation looks right, and it looks right to me. Give me the Sabres in Buffalo to rebound in Los Angeles.
The game of the night.
Yes.
In the NHL. Tampa is at Boston.
Ooh, baby, let's rock.
Total is 6. You know what, Cam?
I like Boston.
Do you? I hate the word value. I hate it.
Okay.
I hate the word. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Every show or everybody talks or bettors and the algorithm and the number guy. Well, I got the value of it. There's no value in ripping up a losing ticket.
Correct.
All right.
Correct. But I'll tell you something.
But come on, Tampa Bay.
I know.
At a pick. Come on.
Brian, let me tell you something, too. I know you're watching the Sabres game, whatever. Let me tell you something. The Montreal Canadiens were all over Tampa Bay at the end of that game. Tampa Bay was so lucky to win that game 3-1. They're still not at their best. I know they basically boat raced the Leafs, as you like to say. They did when they woke up. They have a lot of local players on the team. But Boston, on the other hand, Pasternak's playing out of his mind. Coming off that 4-goal performance on Canadian Thanksgiving. This team looks great. I think Boston, too, they know Tampa Bay, Kings of the East. They want to be there because everyone talks Tampa Bay all the time. Boston at home at 15 cents. Hey, buddy, this is a beautiful thing. We usually agree on like 80 or 90% of the one time. This is one time I think I'm going the different way, Brian. I think Boston's at home. They're laying almost a pick-em price, and I think they make a statement. Give me the Bruins against the Lightning. It wouldn't surprise me if the Lightning won. You know they have the talent, but Boston's playing great hockey right now, and Tampa Bay, they haven't found their gear yet. They will, but I don't think they're in their best form. Give me the Bruins.
And listen, Halak's in good form too, right? Let me real quick double check here if we're getting Halak or Rask. It's Rask tonight. Look at Rask, 1.33. But I mean, the team, Vasilevsky played great in that Montreal game. I mean, to me,
they're both good.
If you're calling it a coin flip, this team had 128 points last year. I mean.
Oh, I know. But Brian, Boston at home, good crowd. It's just one of those things. It's an interesting game. It is a coin flip. I just lean to the Bruins with current form and being at home against Tampa Bay, coming off a win against Montreal where I thought they could have played better. That's my take on it. Would it surprise us if Tampa Bay, won 4-3, 5-4? No, it wouldn't be. But even with these goaltenders and the talent on these teams, I look at a 6. It's hard for me to pull the trigger on the under because both can score.
Speaking of scoring, Minnesota, Montreal.
Yeah.
Habs are $1.65. With
I love the Habs tonight.
Yeah, but with Carey Price, right? I mean, totals at 5. I mean, it's a different game. Stalock's only played one game and he won. But You're getting Minnesota's backup. And this Minnesota team, literally, when they come out on the ice, the big thing now, all these rinks, right? When they do the pregame skate, and they come out and they all have their up-tempo rock song or whatever, and they're skating around, and it's like a rock concert while they're doing the warm-ups to get all jazzed up for the game. But when Minnesota's at home and they come on the ice, they play freaking Calliope music.
Yeah, they play Perry Como. You're still alive. No, you're not. You're in a casket. That's the thing about Minnesota. So I'm Perry Como. Yeah, I know. No, honestly, and you look at that team. We talk about San Jose, sponsored by Allbrand and Metamucil. Well, you can put Minnesota in the 2-team parlay of age. They got aging superstars on that team. Montreal, good young team. They should have played with Tampa Bay. They could have won that game at 65 cents. Let's find a dance partner, Brian, or you like to do -1.5, +155. I'm on the Canadiens in this game. Minnesota, I will say this, though. I'll give Stalock a lot of credit. He got the shutout versus Ottawa, whereas Dubnik's been awful. smoking doobies. He looks pretty slow. Stalock might be taking the starting job pretty soon. But I got to tell you, the Montreal Canadiens, even at that price, I would have made them like $1.85. I like them. I will find a parlay partner, and I will probably take them on the puck line as well, Brian. I'm all in Montreal.
Organization, this Minnesota thing's a disaster. If you go to Cap Friendly and you look at the guys who are old already that are locked up for 5 more years,
Suter and Parise.
If you go to the Minnesota Players Lounge when they're home, they're on the road, but when they've got vibrating recliners in the it's my God, what a train wreck. All right.
Blue air specials like Vegas. Minnesota's a bad team. You're right. And the organization screwed it up. I'm on Montreal tonight.
All right. This is one of the games I do like this evening. It's the Islanders in Winnipeg. Winnipeg's $1.30. The total on the game is 6. I think Paul Maurice should be in the running for Coach of the Year, that this team's 500 with not one NHL defenseman on his roster. And, the Islanders, all of a sudden, little wake up, win their last 2 games, but they're starting. And it's just a 2-game hop, but they're on the road. I think there's goals aplenty here. I think it's a game. It's an out-of-conference game. I think both goalies could be talking to the little men on their shoulder.
I agree with you, but I really like Winnipeg too. I think Winnipeg's the right side. They're coming off a loss to Arizona, where they got exposed for a little bit there, and Islanders feeling good about themselves. I also remember the last time these teams play together, Brian. We have a rocket memory when it comes to hockey games, but Winnipeg pissed away a big lead against the Islanders late. It was a regular season game last year, and I still remember it. I still think some players on that team will remember it. I'm only laying 25 cents in this spot. I think it's a good spot for the Jets. You're right. I think they win a 6-3, 6-4 type of hockey game. Seems like a shinny pond hockey game. I'll take the home team in the over.
For outstanding information and special offerings and promotions, we invite you and encourage you to sign up for our newsletter today simply by going to the website, betchriscanada.net. Watch me. I'm stepping up to the plate here in a big way. Vancouver at St. Louis. Yep. St. Louis is $1.95.
Too much.
The total is 5.5. Bo Horvat gets named captain of the Canucks. They've rattled off 3 wins in a row, and they're starting a long road trip. And we talked about this earlier. Teams and a long road trip, you want to get it off to a good start. And St. Louis, it's their – how many times do we talk about this stuff, Cam? It's their first game home from a 4-game road trip that was a week in duration. The first game home is a brutal game to play after a long road trip. Every angle under the sun points to Vancouver at a big number.
I'm on Vancouver. You talked about it. I talked about it on our other show, Brian. We were doing some gambling shows, and I talked about Vancouver. Buffalo in the East, Vancouver in the West. Watch out for these guys. They're much improved. Even the goaltender, Markstrom's out. They brought in Demko. He played great.
Yeah, well, they got the ears. They got the ears off. The Planet of the Apes ears are gone.
Yeah, the Hobbit. Yeah, so scary, man. I look at him and really? That's your mask? Like a kid designed this thing? But anyway, he's gone for a while. I don't care. Better get Demko. He's been all right, plus 167.
Wait, whoa. What is that? Is that a Canadian thing?
No, Mako.
Mako. Okay, all right.
Get Mako. For your car.
I thought it was a Canadian tire commercial or something.
It's close. Mako Canadian Tire. You can get auto parts. Give me the damn Canucks at plus 167. Might be plus 170 for game time. I agree, Brian. I think this is a 1-goal, 3-2 kind of grind them out game. I actually look at the under in this game too. I think both teams could. Vancouver's probably going to want to slow it down, suffocate St. Louis. It's hard to take an under at 5.5, but I like the value with the Canucks. Sorry, I threw out the V word.
I know. I'm not doing it. But another one, it wouldn't shock me. It's Calgary laying 240 to Detroit.
Calgary?
The total is 6. Calgary,
is the worst favorite in the National Hockey League.
I agree.
My brother lives there. They're so sorry, Calgary fans, but let's call it out for what it is. You should be minus 180 in this spot at most. They price Calgary like they're Vegas, like they're Tampa Bay. What do you like about this team? What, Big Save Dave? Rittich and like, are you kidding me?
No.
Calgary and come playoff time, they're going to get killed again. I'm telling you, man. I would look at the Wings too. If the Wings are actually playing competitive hockey right now. Sure, Calgary could win. I'm not putting it in parlays. It's Detroit or nothing for me. Hell,
that's right.
You could take them plus 1.5, Brian, and lay 20 damn cents.
Well, you know what they look at, Cam? They Detroit's lost 2 in a row. Well, they lost to Toronto, and we just got done bragging about Vancouver.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And listen, they're going to have their ups and downs, but we're seeing as any team on any given night. But it's the Red Wings. Mantha can go off in a game. Larkin can go off in a game. This is a different team with Yzerman at the helm. And, it's all about culture, and they should not be this big a dog.
Listen, you know it. I know it. Calgary's overrated. They shouldn't be 240. I agree with you 100% in that spot. It's Detroit or nothing.
All right, kid. Ottawa and Vegas. Now, there's a story in play for this. It's a big number. Vegas is $3. Honestly, I think if you were going to get involved, and believe me, I'd be a little leery. There's only one way to play this. That's Vegas on the puck line. You could play the total. Let me double check here. In fact, because after we're doing this, I'm going to the morning skate.
Okay.
And now they're putting Marc-Andre Fleury up as a goalie, which is, you know what this is a function of, Cam? That they got pumped by Nashville. But Vegas is leaving for a 3-game road trip, and they're playing at Pittsburgh Saturday. And you wanted Fleury to have that big moment in Pittsburgh, and they're running this guy into the ground already. I mean, there's some real issues going on with Vegas, and their backup Subban's hurt, so it looks like it's going to be Fleury again instead of Oscar Dance against Ottawa coming in. This was set up for them to play the backup and have Fleury for the road trip, but it's Mark Stone against his old team for the first time.
Yep.
Vegas with a stone in their shoe after getting killed by Nashville. Ottawa competes. There's a bad spot. It's a bad spot for Ottawa.
You're right. And Brian, I already did some math. I told you I like the Canadiens earlier, and you parlay them with Vegas, and it becomes plus 115. That's good enough for me. I don't even have to deal with any puck lines. I'm just taking Vegas to win and Montreal to win a 2-game nice parlay, plus 115. Sign me up. The Golden Knights should be able to throttle the Senators. You said it. Tough loss against Nashville. Vegas hasn't looked the same, but the fans there, they've been spoiled. They have a great hockey team that goes all the way to the finals. They're good, but they're still an amazing team. You said it, though. The injuries are catching up a little bit, Brian, but Ottawa, no, they're not in Vegas's league. Give me the Golden Knights. You can take the minus 1.5. I'll parlay them with Montreal.
It's early in the season, Cam, and I can tell you that out here, it's follow the yellow brick road, rainbows and lollipops. I mean, these guys can do no wrong. 2.5 years of existence, and everything's gone great. Obviously, the summer was tough after losing to San Jose when they could have been the Blues last year. Seriously, if they don't blow that San Jose thing. But I'm telling you, Cam, I'm watching these guys. It's a completely different animal. They used to skate rings around everybody. In the last 10 days, Boston skated rings around them. Arizona skated rings around them. Nashville skated rings around them. Vegas, they're going to have nights when they're phenomenal and the power play works. But I think the D is suspect, and the team speed thing. And here's the one thing: it ain't tonight, and maybe we'll do this and focus on this. But I will just throw this to you, my good friend, for you. I never, ever in the first year when they went to the final. And anybody talked about the Vegas flu. The Vegas flu, the teams are coming in and going haywire. Yeah. Well, I can tell you this. A handful of teams did. I think the Sabres came in and did their rookie dinner.
Yeah.
And they probably got all lit up the night before. Okay, so teams did do that, but not across the board. And to me, it was a disservice to how good Vegas was. Now, Vegas is a hell of a lot more interesting than going to Columbus. All right, but these guys, if you want to get in trouble, these guys can get in trouble anywhere they want.
Exactly.
But here's the thing, and here's the difference, Cam, and we're seeing it right out of the gate this year. That novelty coming here is over. And you know what's going on? Now guys come in, and they know it's the loudest building in the league, and it's a circus act, and it's a zoo. Teams are coming in here now, and the coaches are finally getting the message through, and they're saying to them, let's see where we stack up. And it's like a statement game. Teams are coming in here with business on their mind now, and Vegas at home are getting everybody's best shot.
I agree 100%, and I agree with what you said. It's not going to be tonight against Ottawa, but we will pick against this team because the books respect them. They're a damn good team, and when we're getting these other teams at plus 150 going into Vegas and big numbers, we'll look at it. Ottawa's just not good to take advantage of it. It might be closer than people anticipate, though. One thing about the Senators is they try. They're a gritty team in battle. Hell, they beat Tampa Bay 4-2 on the weekend because Tampa Bay snoozed. And I'll tell you one thing, Vegas, don't be going to sleep because you don't want that to happen again. That was shocking what Ottawa did to the Lightning, but I don't think it happens tonight at home. I like Vegas, but you're right. We might have to fade these guys down the line if their numbers are inflated.
Hey, let's go to Friday. Let's just do a marquee game here.
Yep.
And Carolina and Anaheim. Believe that? We'll call that a marquee game. I mean, the Ducks with Gibson off to a good start, and Carolina's been a machine.
Yeah, that's a tough game. And I'll tell you, I might have to go to Carolina on this spot. The Ducks look very good against the Sabres. You talked about it. Buffalo came out hot. Anaheim kind of played a gritty, old-school, tough NHL game to hurt the young players of the Sabres and grind them into the ground. But Carolina, they're interesting. They play a very good road game, a different style, a 2-1 win against the Kings earlier this week, Brian. They're just one of those teams. They've really, really figured it out. I'm not sure with the goaltending tandem if it could hold up with James Reimer there. I know him very well from being a starter and backup with the Leafs. But I will say this, in Anaheim, they've been great, and you talked about it. I'll give you full marks about Gibson. Great first-half goaltender, but Carolina on the road, dangerous team, lean to the bunch of jerks, the Canes.
Let's go to Saturday, and we'll just do a handful of these. But I will tell you this. Vancouver and Jersey is for us, a breakfast game. It's a 1 p.m. game. Matinee games, I don't know how you treat them, buddy. They're squirrely.
They're tough.
I would go over 7.5 in the Vancouver-Jersey game.
Oh, yeah. With New Jersey there, early morning game, lack of defense there. I agree with you, and that's the thing. New Jersey's got to figure it out pretty soon, though, Brian. But, I would be inclined to take the over in that hockey game. Another game to look at, Boston and Toronto. The way Boston's playing, that should be a hell of a game. Hate to say it, but the Bruins, they own the Leafs. That could be very interesting. And, wow, what another good one. Colorado at Tampa Bay. I think it's Tampa Bay's turn in Colorado. They had a nice little start. The Lightning, if they want to make a statement thinking Colorado's good, I think I'll be taking the Lightning, and you'll get a shorter price because the Avalanche are on fire.
The one thing, and I would say this, when you say it's a different era, did you by chance watch terrific game, the Colorado-Pittsburgh game?
No, I was watching the game we had on. I had Edmonton and Philly, which was old school. A lot of dirty hits.
Okay.
And stuff in that game.
Well,
too.
that's the one thing when you say it's a different game. I'm watching Colorado and Pittsburgh. Colorado's up 1-0, and it's McKinnon against Crosby, and McKinnon. Crosby's been amazing. And near the end of the first period, McKinnon gets it center ice. He turns and he wheels, and he's ready to go. And Hornquist comes up and submarines him and hits him right out, just above the knee. But he, one of those Charlie horse things.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, and I'm watching nothing. I'm like, what?
No call?
No call.
Nobody came to protect him.
I'm like, to me, every guy that was on the ice, every player on the bench, the coaches, the trainers, somebody should have jumped over the glass and murdered this guy.
And it's funny.
And they don't do it. I don't get it.
It is different, but I will say this. The same type of thing happened in the Edmonton game. A couple guys were giving Connor McDavid some sticks, and the Oiler players, they got into it. And that might be a different thing with the Oilers this year. Back in the day, they'd step up, let their star get picked at, and then teams are like sensing, wow, what a bunch of weaklings. They don't even come to protect one of the best players, if not the in the league. Okay, we're going to take liberties with them, stick them, do whatever we want. But I'll tell you, they stuck up for that guy, and that's a good sign for a team like Edmonton. You're right, Brian. I don't like that. If Hornquist is going to do that, and Colorado's got Kadri and a couple guys they picked up to be tough. That's unacceptable. If somebody Charlie horses you, I put them in a headlock and punch them in the face and drive them down to the ice. Sorry, stars need to be protected, old school. That's how Gretzky stayed alive, because of Dave Semenko.
You mentioned the Edmonton thing. Let's wrap it up with this heading into the weekend. It's great now, and out of the gate, wow, okay. Yeah. They got him off to a good start. I mean, and then the coach, they kill Philly. And the coach is going, well, if it wasn't for our goalie, we'd have lost that game. All right, please. All right, so they're always trying to coach him up. But It's not sustainable, Cam.
No.
McDavid and Draisaitl are playing upwards of 27 minutes a night. Forwards can't survive that.
No, and they're lucky they have Neil too, but you're right. They shouldn't be playing that much. Edmonton too, this has been an ongoing storyline every year. When are the Oilers going to tank? It might not be early, Brian, but we got to be on top of it, start to monitor this thing, because there'll be opportunities to fade the Oilers, and we'll get a nice price because people are thinking maybe it's their year with their star players. I don't agree either. I think they're improved, but they're still not good enough.
All right, bud. It's always great information. He's Cam Stewart. He survived Canadian Thanksgiving, and we're ready to dive in to a wild weekend on ice. It's always a treat, my friend. Good stuff. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too, man. Good luck with your picks, everybody. Hope we nail some winners.
You've been listening to the Hockey Betting Podcast, presented by BetChrisCanada.net.
For outstanding information and special offerings and promotions, we invite you and encourage you to sign up for our newsletter today simply by going to the website BetChrisCanada.net.
The handicapping and sports odds information contained on this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Please confirm the wagering regulations in your jurisdiction, as they vary from state to state, province to province, and country to country. Using this information to contravene any law or statute is prohibited. The podcast is not associated with, nor is it endorsed by any professional or collegiate league, association, or team. This podcast does not target and is not intended for an audience under the age of 18. If you think that you have a gambling addiction, stop this podcast now and please seek help.
Gambling and betting on sports is a form of entertainment and should be about having a good time. But when done excessively, it may negatively affect other areas of a person's life, such as their physical and mental health, school or work performance, finances, and or interpersonal relationships. At BetChrisCanada.net and the Hockey Betting Podcast, we're concerned about the addiction that gambling may cause, and for this reason, we encourage everyone to practice responsible gambling, an approach to gambling that helps you ensure that it remains an enjoyable activity. Here are the main principles of responsible gambling. Don't think of gambling as a way to make money. Always gamble with money that you can afford to lose. Set limits and stick to them. Never chase losses. Don't gamble when you're depressed or upset, and create a healthy balance. Always be aware of how much time you spend gambling or thinking about gambling, and do not allow gambling to cause you to miss out on time with family and friends or time spent on other activities you enjoy. By following these guidelines, gambling can be a good time and great entertainment. If you feel at any time that your gambling is taking away from important areas of your life, is causing you stress or depression, or is leading to financial losses that are beyond your control, please reach out for help. Learn more at responsiblegambling.org.